This video is made with the sponsorship of Ecrotech New Zealand, one source for all your beekeeping requirements. Hi, Trev here from Trevs Bees on Facebook and YouTube. I'm over in Wanganui today to talk with my friend here, Neil Farrer. Neil's been a beekeeper for a couple of years, so he's going to tell us what his history is with beekeeping and with his experience as a AP2.
Righto, well, going back into a little bit of history. Been beekeeping for nigh on 40 years as a hobbyist and then as a commercial or small commercial. So for many years I was involved as purely a hobbyist with 1 to 20 or 30 hives, gradually expanded to about 60. Then I reached retirement age and decided I need to be more active in beekeeping, so I increased to 300. And I've maintained 300 hives until last year. Now I'm down to about 70.
All right, thanks Neil. So that little history is important to us because we want to talk today about AFB, American Foulbrood, and the legal requirements of what I as a beekeeper have to do, you also as a beekeeper, and some of your stuff that you need to do as a AP2, an approved person's class 2. So first off, can we talk about registering hives?
Now, registering hives is absolutely vital, and there are a number of very good reasons for that. New Zealand is a world leader in our system of registering hives. When you acquire a hive and put it in the site where it's going to live, you've got 30 days to register that hive. Now the reason for that is, if you are a commercial beekeeper and involved in pollination, you're moving hives in and out of an orchard over a 2 or 3 week period. It's not a permanent site. But for most people, they're getting a hive, they're putting it in the back of the section or in a paddock, and that is its permanent site. So this 30-day period enables you to conform to the legal requirements, but the time starts from the day you actually put that hive in its place. So it's 30 days from then you must do that registration process.
And so what does it cost to register a hive? Now we're talking hive and apiaries, and maybe we'll get you to explain the difference between hives and apiaries, and what it costs particularly for a hobbyist, and what defines a hobbyist for that matter.
Right, well, we need to take a step back a little bit first and think about the process of registering. And now in that process there are various ways, but the register is actually run by Assure Quality under contract for the pest management strategy. So you can register the hive by writing, by email, or by going to the AFB website, afb.org/NZ, and there are the forms to A, register yourself as a beekeeper, and B, the site of where the hive is going to be. That gives you the first step. Now the second part of your question was regarding cost. Every beekeeper in New Zealand pays a beekeeper registration fee of $20. And after that there is an apiary charge. But as a hobbyist you're allowed to have up to 10 hives over 3 apiaries and only pay the 1 apiary charge.
Discount rate.
Yes. Now, once you've thought about that, you realise that the cost is not significant just for a hobbyist with 1 to 5 or 6 hives. But for a commercial beekeeper who may have 200 or 300 sites, it becomes a significant figure. This money is used to fund the whole of the PMS strategy. It pays for the manager, it pays for the activities of the board, and it pays for inspectors to go out and have a look at hives.
We'll get to that inspecting in a minute.
That leads you to your next point.
Not quite. So just to summarise with that costing, as a hobbyist with 10 beehives, it's going to cost me $20 plus $15, around about $35 for my registration for up to 10 beehives.
Correct. So as a hobbyist, whether you've got one hive or up to 10 hives and up to 3 different sites, yes, you're up for the one figure, which in round figures is $35 with all the GST tax and everything else.
Yeah. Good. So the next thing I want to talk about with this is, first off, we'll go to APIweb registry. Explain about APIweb. How do I get information about APIweb and to get into it?
Right. APIweb is the name of the software running this registration process, administered by Assure Quality. So for the North Island, we're dealing with Tony Roper or Byron Taylor mainly. There are others. And in the South Island, you could be dealing with Marco Gonzalez or one or two other people down there. To get into APIweb, first of all, you're given the details by Assure Quality, and you're also given a password. You must have that password to get you into the site, and you will only ever see details of your registered sites. So it's only that hive sitting on that piece of land that you're going to see details about. Nobody else's.
Yep, very secure. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is AP2s, approved person class 2. We only have about 4 class 1s, don't we?
Yeah,
4 or 5. And that's, as you said, Tony Roper and his offsiders. But we're talking about the AP2s. And any idea how many of them there are in the country?
There's round figures about 35 of us, I am one. Generally, these people are coming from a significant beekeeping experience. To become an AP2 in previous years, you were always invited.
Oh, yes.
And then you attended usually a 2-day course to learn all the responsibilities and the requirements under law, because we have to work under registration and law. Many of the powers we use are very similar to the powers that the police have.
Oh, okay.
So the rules for inspecting hives are exactly the same as rules for police gathering evidence. We have to do it right.
Yep. And when did you roundabout become an AP2?
Thinking backwards, it must be around about 15 or 16 years ago.
All right, so you've done a couple of minutes of that as well.
Oh yes. What is an AP2? Well, having sat the necessary course and passed the necessary tests, you are given a government warrant for inspection of hives. That warrant, in broad terms, gives you the right to go onto land to inspect hives. But with the rules of evidence, we have to make sure that the beekeeper is notified and has the opportunity to be there if they wish, or failing the beekeeper, the landowner. Because you just cannot trespass on land willy-nilly. You can't jump the fence and go and have a look. And neither can you go and have a look of your own accord. You must receive instructions telling you to go to a specific site to look at specific hives on that site. And therefore you mostly require the knowledge and permission from the beekeeper, because there could be locked gates, there could be private land, it could be jolly hard to find. And that's why in the registration process it is absolutely vital that you give a description and a GPS reference of exactly where that hive is. If you're in a residential property, well, street number and a street will be adequate, but in the rural scene you need a GPS reference.
Sure, could be over the back of the farm somewhere.
Yes.
Or in several locations on the farm.
I have had occasions where the GPS reference has put me 5 miles in the sea. And that's no help to find the hive. And that was in the Manawatu, and it was a long way from the shore.
Yeah. It's important to get it right, obviously. Now, you said that you always try and notify the beekeeper or the landowner. Can I, as a beekeeper, say, no, you're not coming?
Yes, there are reasons why you should not be looking at a hive. Firstly, you have to consider the weather. Now, commercially, people will look at hives where the hobbyists would not, but you have to be considerate. Is it cold? Is it wet? Is it a suitable time to open the hive? But even more importantly, the beekeeper may have just put in a new queen or a new queen cell, and therefore it is not appropriate to take a hive apart and check it thoroughly, because the bees could ball the queen and destroy her. So in that situation, yes, you would not look at the hive then. You would come back after 2 or 3 weeks and do it then. It is very helpful when you've talked to the beekeeper and say, I have these instructions to visit your site and check your hive, that if possible, the beekeeper is there with you. Because at that stage, you can do a lot of education on some of the good issues and some of the bad issues that people have in the way they're conducting their bees. And you can talk about what you find in the hive to the beekeeper, and usually this is of great benefit to everybody because you're helping to spread that knowledge. So it's not a big stick approach. It is softly we want to get alongside the beekeeper, we want to work with the beekeeper, and we want to help the beekeeper be a better beekeeper.
So mostly in this case, while we're working with the law, we're actually talking about let's get better education. Yes. Let's produce better bees, better beekeepers, overall generally better product.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so that's a little bit of AFB, registering hives. We'll do another session with us later on with Neil when spring comes around and we actually go out and inspect a couple of hives. So that's it for this session of Trevs Bees on Facebook and YouTube. And we'll see you around the beehive.